Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision on a daily basis. Welcome to Friday. If you look at if you've heard me use that term, largely the last several Fridays have been a big green day, if you will, not quite a rip your face off Friday sort of thing, but certainly a big green day and a lot of positivity going into the weekend. CNBC was just talking about it, and you know that I commonly say the real professionals are off on Friday during the summer because they're on vacation and things. Obviously not. We're here working, but the major players are, and that sometimes can affect the total number of volume. And the folks that are participating are net buyers, right? They're your retail folks that are out there looking to load up on shares and not necessarily make tough selling decisions on a Friday. So hopefully that's what we have today. We're set up in the green across the board after a little bit of a flat week. So that would be a kind of nice way to end things. All right, as far as our investing topic today, we're going to talk about marijuana investing. Now, when you think marijuana space, you think of CBD, which is the legal side of it. I'm no expert by any means, but CBD oils, pain relief, a lot of that stuff is gaining in popularity, across the board. And then there's the other side, the THC side, which also has medicinal uses that are legal in some states, recreational uses that are legal in other states, or some combination of the two. There's also decriminalization pushes out there where it's not necessarily legal, but it's not being prosecuted. Certain places are dropping it off of your criminal record if you have a prior conviction of some sort related to marijuana. That's dropping off. So we'll see. Earlier this week, the Democrats had put a bill into Congress with not much hope of passing, but excuse me, but at least floating the idea of a nationwide legalization. So when you think about investing themes and you think about, do I want to put my hard-earned cash into this theme, thinking it's going to grow over time, you really have to ask yourself what you think the future is going to hold for marijuana. Do you think it's going to stay where it is? As far as I think it's 17, 18, 19 maybe states that has some form of legalization. Do you think it's going to be cracked down upon, i.e. all that's going away and be illegal again? Then obviously you would not want to invest in the space. But if you think there's going to be a nationwide legalization, which is what I think, then this is certainly a space you want to put your money behind. Don't know how fast that's going to happen, so don't expect this to be one of those investments where you buy it and it doubles overnight. But certainly I think it is attractively priced. There's a couple of different ways to play it. You can go with individual names, Canopy Growth, Tilray, Kronos, or some of the more popular names that we'll take a look at. However, I think the best way to play it, if you believe the thesis, is to go straight into the index fund called MJ, which is the appropriately named marijuana type of fund. So that's what we're going to take a look at today for our long-term investing theme. I have money there myself. It has not performed. So when you think of when do you want to buy something, most of your retail investors are looking of like fantastic, Apple's bouncing off of new highs every day. Let's go buy some of that. Well, if you always are buying at new highs, it's tough for you to make any money because the money's been made already. The chart I'm going to show you today has been beaten up significantly, almost 50% off of recent highs from within the past 6 months. So that's where I'm not that much of a value investor. I'm more of a growth guy. But when I do look for value, I look for something that basically has been cut in half that's got some upside, with a theme that obviously has a strong potential of coming true, which is what I think. So that's what we're going to talk about today. As far as our question, what is quantitative easing? If you followed yesterday, the child tax credits are going out. I did find out that if you have a child between, I think it's 6 and 17, you got $250 per child. So that explains why 500 showed up in my bank account. I was slightly wrong yesterday on the income limits. The income limits are very similar to the stimmy checks, the stimulus checks. Limits are out there, 150K of modified adjusted gross income, not total income. But MAGI, if you have less than that as a couple, or if you're out there single, 75K. Below that, you're going to get the full amount. There's some phase outs above that. So it is part of the quantitative easing. So when you think the term quantitative easing, you think, how can the government get money into your hands so you can turn around and spend it? And therefore we boost the economy, boost the tax base, and the government gets all that money back through taxation. In theory, right? I got you. We've been in an easy money situation for over a decade now. That was not the way when I grew up, sort of thing. And I don't know necessarily our way out of it. The Fed talks about raising rates. Powell was in Congress this week. Janet Yellen was speaking last night, talking about inflation as well as other things. But I think we're kind of stuck in this easy money policy for some time. So we'll talk about the impact of that and see what Investopedia has to say. All right, as far as our longs today, Moderna, mRNA, and most of you are familiar with that name through the vaccine, right? So it's been a pretty good place to have money, but they just got added to the S&P 500. So when we look at trading today, it's got a high price point. It's up at around 280. So it's a little bit tough to trade because you can't buy a billion shares of it. But it does have certainly the emphasis to go higher based off of that announcement. We also have Fubo TV, if you've heard of Fubo, kind of a hot name earlier in the year. You haven't heard much about it lately, but they announced a gambling initiative to where they're going to have Fubo TV Online, which is a sports book, Fubo Sports Book in Pennsylvania. So, I like DraftKings, I like Golden Nugget Online Gaming, several initiatives out there to be able to support the sports gambling theme, which again, I don't gamble. I don't like it at all. I don't think there's any edge out there, but certainly I like investing in companies that basically take a percentage of each bet. It's like, well, that's a moneymaker, right? Because people love to gamble on stuff. So if you believe that, that's not a bad place to have money. But Fubo TV is on the move this morning, plus 7% higher. There's another couple names, which I probably won't get to, but if you're taking a look right now, MGI, which is MoneyGram International, there's a potential merger news. They're up 8% and they meet our volume requirements. Also, iBio is out there on some medical news. You'd have to look that up yourself because I didn't catch the full story there. Only one short out there, Didi. If you remember, the Chinese stocks have been kind of bouncing this week. So Didi has bounced off of its lows. It was at, it closed around 12 yesterday. It's gapping down. It's below 12 now. It was almost close to 10 earlier this week. So it's kind of moved up. So it could sell off here on the Friday, but it is also a strong name. I own it for the long theme. So that's kind of tough to be able to trade. So that's what we've got for you today. If you're catching us on replay, thank you so much for checking us out. Make sure you subscribe and click the notifications bell. If you want to join us live in the room, what you don't see is a Q&A and a chat window. Folks can ask me stuff live real time, whether what's what I'm talking about or whether it's any other topic that's on their mind out there. With that, let's go ahead and get the show started. All right, welcome back to, here's the lineup of card for today. I think I failed the transition there of switching over to the video. It didn't look like it took, but thanks for joining us. Make sure you have your Q&A window and your chat window set up appropriately. Standard disclaimer applies. This is a financial education presentation. You have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear this morning. Full disclaimer information is available at the website, ototnow.com. All right, our mission objectives for today, Friday, July 16th, grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. We're looking specifically to grow our money through the marijuana investing theme, like we talked about in the open. If you think it's going to be nationalized, which I do, if you think if that happens, my take is that it's going to follow the alcohol model to where it's going to be legalized across the board, and then the government, if they are smart, which I think they are in this case, is going to go in and tax folks, right? Look for how to levy that sin tax on top of it, like they do with gasoline, like they do with alcohol and some other stuff that's out there. So that's why we're in this space. We're trying to again grow our money. Is now the time? When we pull the chart, I'm going to tell you that I think so based off of the price of the index fund. You can also go into the individual names. There's more risk there. It's tougher to get entry. But as far as the index fund, I think we are good to go. All right, the question of the day, quantitative easing. We'll talk more about that later. Our flow today, long, short, open, short, long. We'll do a market review, go around and take a look at some headlines that are out there. Long-term investments are the ones you see below, marijuana, MJ, the index fund, as well as the individual names. We'll get in the short-term executions for the longs and the shorts, try to get a trade in there, and contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, let's go over to TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform. You see 4 screens. This is how I'm set up for the day trading. Again, mRNA long, FUBO long, and DD short. You see DD pushing back pretty hard there. So I'm not really excited about shorting it there, but we shall see. All right, when you zoom out a little bit, you can see here's where we are with the overall market. Have had a couple of red days. Not a big deal. I'm not worried. Just simply hanging out near those all-time highs. So when you're hanging out near all-time highs, you can't just expect the market to power higher all the time, even though I do think today is going to end up as a nice green day. All right, as far as our charts, there's AMC bouncing back. Didn't mean to necessarily show AMC, but you know that's a theme that we shorted earlier in the week. Here we are back to the S&P 500. You have the past 5 days in the dark blue here, and you see that the futures are up pretty significantly. So trending higher, so that makes me think today is a day where I want to take the long-term trades out there, and we'll get back to those here in a minute. All right, let's switch over to CNBC.com. We'll take a look at the futures, get those refreshed for you here. All right, here's where we are. You see almost 0.25% across the board, so nice and green everywhere. I like that. When you look at Europe, Europe's mixed, pretty light trading over there, muted, if you will. Let's see, Asia. Asia's mixed. You got Japan down almost 1%, though. Looks like steady on the monetary policy. You'd think that steady would mean markets in the green, but they must not have liked that news that's out there. All right, as far as bonds, again, everybody talks about the 10-year as kind of you have inflation and the bond market reacting to that. 10 years down at 1.3. Again, that's a good time to refi for those that are going through refinance operations. Easy money, free money, low cost of capital if you get in any of those conversations. But when you go to buy bonds, bonds is a particular challenge right now. I'm trying to buy bonds for some folks that have sizable portfolios to kind of provide that anchor for them. And it's very challenging. It's hard to get the yield to maturity that you're looking for. And it's just a tough environment. So a couple of options out there. There's a high yield fund I use, HYGV, that I'm putting some folks into. And there's also, tax-free municipal bonds, which when you think bonds, think boring. When you think tax-free municipal bonds, you're thinking boring at another level. I mean, that's like epic boring, right? That's like not even getting to watch the paint dry or the grass grow. You just have to sit in a room and think about it. That's the level of boredom you're at if you get into those sort of things. But again, it is paying a couple percent with the tax-free munis, which means, if you get into taxable equivalent yield, which is blah, 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 a lot of math for a Friday morning, but trying to figure out what you would have to get as far as a yield after taxes, it's not a bad way to go. You can beat your bank account, which again, that is what most people are looking for at this point. All right, oil at 72, that's not bad compared, it's been up to 75 most of the past month or so. Gold and silver dipping slightly, but again, they've been on fire, so I'm not too worried. Crypto, Bitcoin holding 30,000. I saw a big article there. I think 4 NFL stars came out last night. Announced last night is probably more accurate as far as, they're going to go ahead and convert. They can't get paid in Bitcoin. That's a misnomer. They get paid in dollars, but they convert either their salaries or their endorsement money into Bitcoin. So anyhow, you started getting big names getting behind this thing, and you could see the bottom for me here and it going higher from 30. I'm not really a crypto guy. If I were, I'd be at Bitcoin. I was in it for a while. We got in at 33, rode it up to 50. I think 30 might actually hold. That's looking pretty strong sitting here. All right, as far as the headlines going on, analyst calls, Netflix got a big upgrade. I did not see Uber, Caterpillar, or Starbucks to see what's going on there. Live Nation, I'm not into Live Nation, but it certainly get a lot of positive talk out there as well as concerts return. I have gone to a couple concerts within the past month, and it's pretty normal. It really is. So again, the real money in concert is not the tickets, is to get you in the venue and then charge the crap out of you for everything inside of it, i.e. drinks and food, and t-shirts and all that other crap. But concerts are back, and I don't see that changing at all. All right, Chinese regulations, Tencent got hit this morning, DD got hit, and that's why we're looking at it as far as a short. Here's Yellen yesterday, several more months of rapid inflation. I think that's incorrect. I'll argue with the doctor. I don't think it's going to be rapid. I think we have sustained inflation, but I do think it's transitory. So here's Jack Dorsey. We talked about Square a little bit yesterday. Talk about weird. Goodness, this guy takes weird to a whole new level. But good on him. He gets to be a billionaire. I don't, so good for him. All right, that's about it for the headlines of the day. Seeing if there's anything else in there. Yeah, there's a new Space Jam out. If you hated the first one, I'm sure you'll hate this one with LeBron. But anyhow, and then Elon Musk did admit the Cybertruck could flop. If you listen to what he says, he's pretty honest about a lot of his investments. Yeah, I don't know if this is going to work or not. He kind of went all in on Tesla, and it's turned out for him. But certainly he's willing to take the risk. All right, we'll have to look at the MJ chart a little bit later because we are going into the open. Let me get set up for a second. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target play of the day. You have 4 screens in front of you on the TD Ameritrade ThinkPipes platform. All our 1-minute charts. Starting on the left at the S&P 500, we have 2 longs in Moderna and Fubo TV, and then we have our 1 short of the day over in DD. I am not excited about any of these yet, so we'll see how it is after the market. All right, there's the loudest bell in the world, marking the market open for today. So again, you have Moderna up 5%. Fubo up 5%, and you have DD down 4%. So fitting our numbers there, DD was down a little bit earlier. Okay, I do like the sell-off. I think Fubo is a little easier to trade here. So the low of the day is 2,700. Normally you would take this at about 27.25. That's changing there in Fubo, which I like. Again, the more when you have longs that are selling off hard, as long as they turn around, you let them set the bottom of the day, and then you take them back higher. Again, I think Fubo, has a higher, more of a snapback, if you will. 26.65, so 26.95. It's right at that 26.95 right now. I'm thinking about taking it, but 200,000 shares. All right, let's take it at, again, 26.95. We'll wait for it to go higher to 26.95. There it is, 26.95, 26.97 if you got into a little bit late. 26.65 is the low of the day. So it's a 30-cent stop. So do all your math based off of 30 cents. We are going long here. You can still take it here. It's still in that ballpark of it. So 20, to make myself math hard on myself this morning, 26.95 plus 30. Let's go 27.25, where it's already at right now. Another 30 cents is 27.55, which is right here. And our exit point of the day would be 27.85, which is off the chart. Let's go find it. I can't quite get there, so we'll have to just wait for that to happen. So again, entered the trade at 26.95, 30-cent stop. We're in the green. We'll see. Just keep an eye on that trade. Do have your stop in though. This thing, as you've seen day to day, these things can flip and pop you out of them pretty quick, and you don't want to take the risk to the downside. However, power and higher here, I like it. 27.85 is your stop to the upside. So again, we'll keep an eye on that. All right, DD is too strong. It's just power and higher. People are buying it here because what's the long-term thesis in DD? I don't know, Chinese middle class, largest in the world, 6 times bigger than ours, and it's a ride-sharing program in an environment like that. Yeah, pretty tough not to make money. You would have to try to not make money to be in that situation. So that's why I like it. All right, let's take a look at some other names as we're watching our trade power higher here. Another long name, MGI, which is MoneyGram International. All right, 27.85 is our exit point. It hit that. So if you had that set in, You are now out. So let's go ahead and review that trade for a 3-hour trade. So we watched the market open. We talked about the market going all the way down here. It was moving down pretty quick. Both of our longs, selling off. What is that? That's profit taking, right? So the market opens. People go, you know what? I made a whole bunch of money overnight from this gapping up. I'm going to take profits. Well, that's a bunch of selling. So it goes down here. It sets the exact low at 26.69. You pad that by a few cents. And math you can do on the fly, which again, you've seen me mess up math more than anybody. But I'd like to say I'm somewhat good at it, but it's still hard to do, right? So 26.65 was our math. We set a 30-cent stop. We caught it in here, bought at 26.95. We took it 1, 2, 3R, and we're out at 27.85. This is not a name I would hold, a portion of the shares or whatever. I would be happy with a 3R trade and get out and call it a Friday and move on with the life, which is the beauty of being a trader, is you can make her, whether you make your 3R or you lose an R first thing in the morning, you're done for the day and you can move on to whatever it is you want to do with the rest of your time. All right, so that's a nice trade there. All right, let's look at some other names. iBio was another name we're going to look at long. Here's where it was earlier. Obviously, it's a tough price point to trade, just because your stop is going to be like a cent or 2 cents, right? That's more scalping stuff, and that's it's pretty advanced. If you're going to do scalping, you kind of need to program a computer. You don't need to. I would recommend you program a computer to do it, because it's going to happen so fast. You're not going to be able to sit and watch it, kind of like we are here. Okay. That's it for the trades. Let's go ahead and bounce out to some of our faves. What do you think? Luck and Coffee, up or down? Up a little bit. Okay, I'll take that. Up to 1360. This chart is, good days and bad days, right? Hanging out around 9 for a long time. Started rocking higher, touched 1570, and then now it's back in this range. Well, obviously, when you see it sell off here from 14 down to 12, and from 12 to 11, guess what? Stocks need to take a breather, right? They need to consolidate. All the people who made money here start selling, and then becomes attractive again, and then it goes higher. So overall, not worried about lucking long term. Let's look at Baba, another Chinese name. Basically flat on the day. Did go down here and touch 200. I liked it there. I actually still like it here. If you really back out this chart, you're going to see 300, right? So 320. Now, I've been in the stupid stock since 320 as well. I was in a way off to the left of the chart, but I've taken this ride. I've felt the pain. I'm not worried about Alibaba at all. I think all of the Chinese regulatory stuff, all that's doing is making this more attractive of an entry point for Alibaba. Again, same reason as Didi. You have the huge middle class, and do you think they're going to buy stuff online? Yeah, I do. I think they will buy stuff online. So not worried about it all. All right, let's back out here a little bit and see what's going on in the long-term investment portfolio. A couple of spec names up today. You see AMC, meme stock name, have fun. Lucking up 2%. CBD, we talked about marijuana. Why CBD is one of the companies you can own if you choose to for an individual name. It's up 2% today. GoDaddy, we haven't talked about GoDaddy in a while. Pretty strong stock. It got up, I want to say over 90. Oh, didn't get over 90, got up to 88. Actually, I think it did get over 90. Let's back out. It's been a while since, nope, here's where it was over 90. Right after earnings last time, touched 90, settling back into the 80s or so. When you look at this chart, I think GoDaddy has great long-term potential, but just don't think it's going to change overnight. Sort of thing. All right, let's look on the downside. You got DD down 3%, Clickstream, FBT is a bio name, VipShop, KWeb. KWeb's been a challenge. Again, same reason as Baba. You're looking at a very similar chart, almost 50% off of the highs. I think this is poised to make a ton of money. So no problem buying into KWeb here. For me, if you don't like China or you don't like the headlines or all the risk, then don't get into it. No skin off my back. All right, let's go ahead, and now I want to show you that chart for MJ, which I kind of showed you a little bit. Come back up on screen here. So again, much like KWeb, much like Baba, you're looking at something that peaked back in February. Now, when you see, here's where a lot of people buy. It's like you see something start on fire, And, by the time the articles are out and you're watching the headlines and stuff, you're like, oh man, I got to get in on this. And then you buy in here. It's like, okay, you got to adult a little bit. When when the train leaves the station without you, you have to go, drat, or whatever your word of choice is. You missed it. Okay, you got to own that. You got to wait. Some things never come back. Tesla never came back. You never got another entry point into Tesla, really. I mean, from 100, you got an entry point now that's at 700. But realistically, when things start to take off, you're either on the train or you're not. If you're not on the train, you can go ahead and put it on your watch list to see if it comes back in. Now, when it comes back and does something like this, when you have this huge red bar here, people are like, oh my God, there's no way I'm going to buy it now. It's over. Well, actually, that's not a bad time to buy, right? Now, in this case, it continued to leak for the past 6 months. But when you really look at this chart over here, sitting at 1820, I just have to think this is a great time to buy this. So my opinion, make your own judgment. If you want to be cool and tell your friends that you own an individual stock, Tilray is the one to own. Very similar chart, except for, it was up here at 60. Now it's down at 15, 14. So, it's also, if you bought here, that's a good way to lose 75% of your money. So I could see why people feel a little bit jilted by Tilray. But it is one of the stronger names out there. It's back down here at 14. So if you're going to get an individual name, you can consider that one. Canopy Growth is significantly bigger. I like it better. It's a Canadian firm. It's also down here at 20. Been, the House of Pain selling off about 60% from its all-time highs. So there's risk there. Consider if that's something you want in on. All right, question of the day, quantitative easing. What is it? It's basically unconventional unconventional. I got to put that in quotes now, right? Unconventional monetary policy, which has now become conventional, right? Because we've been doing it for so long, where basically the central bank and the government authorizes the purchasing of securities or bonds to, again, prop up the financial markets and, tie that with policy that releases money into the economy, whether that's through stimulus checks, favorable taxation, the tax child thing that's going on, child tax credit that's going on right now, whatever it is, it's getting money out in your hands so you can turn around and spend it. If you remember, we did this obviously in 2008 through 2009, that time frame, and quantitative easing lasted for years. We, up to like 2012 or so, as we tried to unwind it. But every time you try to unwind this stuff, it's like taking the punch bowl away from a party. People don't like it, right? So, and the markets don't like it. The markets start to sell off, which makes people think, okay, maybe we shouldn't take the punch bowl away. Either way. But if you remember back to 2011, 2001, after we had September 11th, is what I'm trying to say. George Bush Jr. said one thing, right? And he said, get out and spend your money. Because everybody was staying home. We were living in fear of terrorism, airplanes from the skies blowing stuff up. Obviously, that'll keep you home. But we went through that, and he's like, you need to get out, support your local restaurants, support your local businesses, and spend some money. So that was kind of the initial, call for individuals to do that on their own. And then a few years later, the government said, we can just do this and start jamming money into your pockets, and that way you'll get out and spend. So anyhow, that's the theory there. I think maybe, 50, 100 years from now, descendants of all of us listening today can write papers on this and talk about whether this grand experiment worked or if it ended democracy. I don't know. You can spin yourself into bankruptcy too. But we'll see. There's a lot of unknowns out here. There's certainly inflation that is a concern that has not been the case. But there's also stagflation, where you grow so much where you can't grow anymore. So anyhow, a couple of concerns on the radar scope. Pundits talk about that nonstop on TV. So, all right, that's what I've got for you today. Nice trade for Friday. Let's check back to the see if everything's holding in the green. It appears it is across the board. Just barely though, so not really the fry yay, rip your face off kind of day, but certainly in the green across the board. With that, hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll be coming to you from a different location on the road again next week. So be in Anaheim all week for one of my daughters to do some volleyball at the training center, the Olympic Training Center out there, which is a pretty cool opportunity. So I'll be coming to you from a hotel in Anaheim, where I have to sit there all week. And even though I don't get to see her and interact with her, I get to have kind of a fishbowl arrangement so people can come and watch the young folks train that are out there in this big facility. So anyhow, we'll see you guys from California on a Monday morning. Have a good weekend.